So I'm going to talk to you about how to achieve success with GCSE Maths. I am Emily Morton. I am Head of Maths here. Okay, so first of all, what are we working towards? Well, we are working towards an Edexcel course. So we sit the Edexcel Maths course here. There are two options here. You can sit the higher paper or the foundation paper. Each one of those, there are 3 1.5 hour papers for the students to sit. So you can see on the left-hand side there, the higher paper goes from a grade 4 all the way up to a grade 9, and the foundation paper goes from a 1 to a 5. A 5 being very closely linked to a low grade B, so it is a much harder paper than the foundation used to be. So both papers have 2 calculator papers and 1 non-calculator paper. In every exam series that you do, the non-calculator paper will come first. So paper 1 is always non-calculator. So students are going to get several opportunities to sit their exams in full. There is a mock 1, so they have their first paper, which is a non-calculator paper on November the 6th. And then paper 2 and 3 for that series will be in their December mock week. Then we have a second mock. Their first paper is on the 7th of February. Then paper 2 is on the 3rd of March and paper 3 is on the 7th of March. Don't worry about noticing those down. We will keep our students or the students up to date on when exams are coming up and what they need to do for them. So all students will be expected to have scientific calculators for the calculator papers and their maths equipment, so black pen, pencil, ruler, eraser, compass and protractor. They won't be lent any equipment in their exams. If their equipment breaks for any reason, we do have spares at the front for that purpose, so they don't need to worry if their equipment breaks. Papers are going to be marked in line with the exam board. So we have exam markers who do training with our teachers in maths, and we make sure that we are marking accurately, indicative of their current level of ability. Boundaries will be given with guidance by the exam boards. So we will use general boundaries that are approximately where they are in the summer. Boundaries do change every year, so that's always a slightly difficult one, but we do want to try and make them as accurate as possible. So what that means is after mock 1, the students will get a very clear grade of where they are at. And after mock 2, they will have another opportunity. And you can see that is 3 months after their December mock, where they hopefully will see a change in their grade for the positive. So how are we going to help students prepare for these? Now, they have already been given a revision list for paper 1. And if they haven't, they must talk to their teachers. After that, they will be given a revision list for paper 2 and 3, which will be combined. So they get 1 revision list for paper 1, and they get 1 revision list covering paper 2 and 3. The reason why we do that is paper 2 and 3 are sat so close together in the exam week. What to revise? Now, this is the question that comes up the most. So exam papers are really, really good, and they are very necessary as you get closer to the exam to practice those exam questions. However, at the moment, targeted topic-based revision is the best form of revision that we can advise our students to do. So what that means is that they would go through their revision lists, they would look at the areas that they need to work on, and then they would revise those areas. So how do they know which topics to revise? Each of the revision lists we have ragged, so we have red, amber and green them, so that students know which of those topics they need to practice the most. They have got reviews from their previous exams from year 10. And as we go through the year, they can obviously use their previous exams from year 11. And then each home learning they're doing, and they have been given home learning over the past couple of weeks to help them prepare for paper 1. They are setting themselves targets and areas that they need to work on. So that would be my what do I revise? Look at the topics you need to work on and do some further revision on them. And then the next one is how to revise. Now, maths is all about active revision. So the most important thing is that you are doing something when you are revising, not just reading through your notes. So cue cards are really, really good to condense your notes. However, when it comes to maths, practice is always the best way. So practice, practice, practice. The more questions you can do, the better. Importantly with that though, it is so important that they are marked questions because you need to know whether you are getting them right or wrong. So how do we revise? Well, there is plenty of revision work that is being given to you by your teacher. So home learning, classwork, anything that you've been given that might be useful, going back through previous home learnings. If you have purchased the workbook that was available to students last month, then you could work through questions on the workbook. You could redo your past home learnings, and that is true of your Year 10 home learning as well. You could redo your previous exam papers that you did at the end of Year 10. You could complete questions from online sources or websites, again, making sure that you have correct answers to that so that you know if you're getting them right or wrong. And then there are some practice exam questions that are already on the learning zone for you. Now, later on, and I'll talk about this in a minute, we're going to do home learning exam papers, and that will come after February half term. So where would I go if I was looking online to get some help? So first of all, Corbett Maths, this is highly recommended. They have some really good videos to help with tutorials. They have lots of questions, and again, importantly, they have the answers available. Dr. Frost is a really good website. Each of the students have their own individual login. If they are not sure how to log in, please get them to talk to their teachers, or they just need to reset their password using their school email address. BBC Bite Size is, again, a good website that can be used, and there are loads and loads of websites that are appropriate for maths. As long as they have GCSE maths, it will all work. So revision sessions, what are we doing in maths to help revise? So after February half terms, these will take place every week. We will split them into different groups. So we will have a foundation group, a higher group looking around the grade 5 to 6, and then a higher group looking around the 7+. These are completely voluntary to students, and if students want to come, they must want to work. It's really important they come with the right positive attitude to those, because they do get very, very busy. So I spoke about this briefly, just to let you know, as we get closer to the exams, we are going to start exam papers for home learning. So from February half term, students will receive 1 exam paper a week, which will be their home learning. There will be 10 in total. They will have time in class to start their paper, and then home learning time to finish their paper. Now, it's really important that these are finished to an appropriate standard. So if you've got a student that is aiming for a grade 6, for example, on the higher paper, it's really important they are gaining at least a grade 6 every single week, because they should be using their books to help them. We then go through the papers in class, they make corrections, we mark them, they really get to understand the mark scheme and how the mark scheme works and how to pick up all the marks. And then they will be able to be accessed by the learning zone, but we do photocopy and issue them, and that will be a cost at £4 per set, but we'll talk to you about that closer to the time. And then students need to be using these revision exam papers to create their own personalised revision list. So target topics, what do they need to work on? We will create a personalised revision list for them, so that they can ask for help with any questions they can't do. So it's a lot of information, but together we can succeed. We are 100% here to support our students. We do lots and lots of practice in class. And most importantly, we do really want to be available to help our students as much as we can. If you want to get in contact with us, please can I ask that that happens via email, just because it is much easier for us to get back to you. If students want to come and see us, then we are always available at break times and lunch times. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that has been useful for you, and you enjoy watching the rest of the videos.